Under promise and over deliver. I can't count how many times that I've said that, and it is easily reached with a few things set in place. And just generally speaking, throughout this process, I've mentioned a couple of ways of taking the bottom end of a range or make an assumption and confirming it in due diligence. What I want to do is lay a path down here that we use on every single deal that we do, for every single client, for every single house that we do, that you'll be able to do as well too, to make you confident and comfortable to be consistently conservative. Holy cow, 4 C's in a row. That was pretty cool. The biggest thing about it is a perspective of I want to keep the expenses up and my income down. So it's the opposite of what I want to do when I'm actually owning a property is I want to have my expenses down and my income up. But being conservative, I just flip it back around. I want to anticipate all my expenses are going to be high, and I want to anticipate all my income is going to be low. And that's basically how we're going to get there. So let's jump through these sections, right? Where we can do this. Rent range. Get your rent range from an experienced property manager. Somebody, I like the 40 to 400 units under management. They're not too small, they're not too big. They know your name, they don't forget about you. I like that little pocket there. Always use the lower number in the range. So we'll see these where we'll come in around, say, $1,250 to $1,350 a month. I'm going to use $1,250. And then I'm going to confirm that in the due diligence period. So when I have that 10-day inspection period, I'm going to get back in touch with my property manager. I'm going to have it in writing back to me. Yes, $1,250, $1,350 all day. Done. Check. ARV range. My confirmation in my due diligence period or through my offer process is from a local real estate agent who also owns rentals in that area. That's really important. A rental property is going to be different than a flip property. A rental property is going to be different than a Joe homeowner property, right? So I want to use team members that are doing what we're doing. It's really important. Always stay at or below the lowest value in the range. That's important. Again, I'm going to have a range of, say, 150 to 160. I'm going to use 150. And that's going to keep everything else pushed down. I can go through that in my offer process. Ultimately, in my due diligence process, what we'll talk about, I need that confirmed from a dependable, experienced local real estate agent who also invests in the same kind of rentals that has results. It's really important. Comparables. I want to select comparable properties as close as possible to the subject property. Subject property being the house that I'm looking at, right? The house I have opportunity with. Use comparables with less bedrooms or less finished square footage. You can see in the ARV that we put together, I was looking at 3 1s and our subject property was 4 2. So I know I can be confident that that's a conservative number every single time. Repairs. Assume the worst and hope for the best. If there's no information provided, then assume it will need repairs. Formal construction quote or bid from your contractor during the due diligence period. So I'm going to go through, like I said, in the repair section, I'm not going to count nails and screws, but I'm going to get enough in there. If I don't know if it needs it, I'm going to throw the money in there for it. I'm going to keep my expenses high and keep my income low in this process to be conservative. And it's exactly the opposite when we're in real world scenario and we own the property. We want to flip that. Contingencies. Include your assumptions in writing in the written offer. The property condition, title conditions, use of property, occupancy, inspections, who is responsible for what and when. So a couple of these things would be property condition. Property to be vacant at time of close. Property to be free of trash and debris, broom swept condition at time of close. Very, very important to have those in there. Title condition, free and clear. Title to be free and clear, right? Use of property. Property to be used as duplex, contingent upon a municipality approval, right? Every contingency that you write in your offer makes it a little less attractive. So be careful, but be be confident in what you're putting out there, right? If that doesn't work, then, and I haven't had time or made time to make certain of these different issues, I don't want to get tied up because I might lose the offer. I want to make sure and be certain on everything. Again, this is how to be conservative. Occupancy, to be vacant, right? To be vacant at time of close. Inspections. I want to write in there 10-day inspection. If you're working with a real estate agent, this is in a lot of the MLS contracts, 10-day inspection. And I always want to make sure that I have a 24-hour pre-close walkthrough or inspection as well too. I need to confirm the condition of that property is exactly the way they said it was going to be and how we agreed on it right before we close. Who is responsible for what and when is it supposed to happen? Who is responsible for delinquent taxes? So I would write that right in my offer. And that, again, is just a way of being conservative. I want to know the ins and outs of everything. I can lean on the experience of my team for that, but I also want to have a process put into place so I can check these things off and make sure that I can put these offers out. I want you guys to get through this process to where you can do this 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I've got these systems to lean on so I know I can get through that, right? Great title company. Proven processes for title search, construction escrow, funding, document requirements, and closing procedures. Really, really important. And when you start working with a title company, again, finding a title company that's worked with your team, worked with your real estate agent who's done rentals, worked with your construction team who's done rentals, worked with your property management company who's done rentals, that is a great combination. If you can get with an experienced team, boom, next line, it is awesome. They've already have years and years of working together, and you're just plugging in as another client. Home and pest inspection. I would add to this. I'll add to this too. Septic and sewer inspections. We don't do a lot of that, just because the areas that we buy in, we buy in cities. Mainly, I tell you about the market analysis, the MSAs, but I also own properties that are not in MSAs and still do all right, but they don't have septic systems or wells. We have issues with tree roots and sewer leads. That is one of my favorite issues, right? But home and pest inspections, like I say, I'll add the sewer and septic here, but you want to make sure that you get these done. Home inspection can be done if you don't have a contractor who can walk through and do it for you. Home inspections typically in the 300 to 600 range. They will tear the house apart on paper. So don't let them scare you. Lean into it and make sure with that the idea of what repairs need to be made to make sure it can be insured, can be lended on, and make sure it can rent at top rent. You know, don't let the home inspector scare you, but lean on them. If they say, oh, I've got a foundation, there's a crack here, then go ahead and get an additional inspection by a foundation expert or an engineer. Pest inspection is great. Certain markets are just known for different types of bugs. The biggest one, let's see, what are those guys? Termites. Those guys are all over the place. And here in the Carolinas, we have what are called palmetto bugs. I was new to that when we came down here, but that's interesting. It's cockroaches. And, you know, in different areas, different markets that we have houses where, you know, it's typically a sign of uncleanliness, you know, the little guys, and they're all over the place. Here, it's a normal bug. So know the area, know the market, get the home inspection and pest inspection. Ultimately, rely on the due diligence process. If you estimate or assume when you make the offer, you must verify and confirm during the due diligence period. No exceptions. If you estimate and assume to make your offer, you have to verify and confirm during the due diligence period. No exceptions inside of that timeline. You follow this process, you're going to be knocking it out. And again, it's going to build your confidence. This is what's going to allow you to make those offers faster. This is what's going to allow you to grab the information that you need, get rid of the information that you don't need, and get to the point where you're building your portfolio confidently and comfortably.